The first stage of advertising online was all about reach. How big an audience can we reach? And if we're not reaching 2 million people or 3 million people, regardless of who they are, then we're not doing cost-effective online marketing. The second stage of online advertising, which we're now in, is all around data, big data. How do we target the right people? How do we make sure that we only target women or women who have an interest in running? How do we retarget them? If they've said no to us before, how do we stalk them so that they say yes to us the next time, and we keep doing it until they follow us? But a good stalker doesn't necessarily make a good advertiser or a good storyteller. And one thing that we do really well on other channels and other media, but we don't do on online advertising, is caring about the context in which we advertise. As a brand tries to become storytellers themselves and engage people not just through advertising, but through an ongoing story about the brand and why people should care about the brand, why people should care about doing business with them, they really need to start thinking about the context in which they advertise. So who are they partnering with? Where are they placing the stories they want to place? And so the publisher you deal with, or the platform you deal with, or where you place your content is as important as who you target and what reach you have. In fact, the better you target and the higher quality the platform you're in, the better reaction you're going to get to your stories, the more engagement you're going to get, the more influence you're going to be able to generate over those audiences. And so at some point, we really got to start thinking about not just the reach and the targeting, but really the context in which you advertise as well when it comes to online advertising. Brands trying to become publishers is really an interesting area right now, because all of them want to do it, but very few are equipped to do it, or very few know where to start. So we're seeing a lot of small shops like brand entertainment shops or content marketing agencies pop out, and the traditional agencies are trying to react to that and have develop those same capabilities. The first place where we started seeing it was social media. So all of a sudden, brands that were used to pushing like one-way messages had to deal with responses from people. And that was quite an interesting time because that was new to them. And how do we deal with this? Who do we put it? Is it with customer care? Is it with marketing? Where do we place that conversation? How do we respond to it? Then they put the burden on the agency and say, okay, you guys deal with it. And the agencies were like, but we don't know the answers to those questions necessarily. So there were quite a lot of learnings there. And a lot of brands have adapted. And you're finding tools and you're finding companies that now separate the conversations depending on what it is. So this conversation goes into customer care. This conversation goes into marketing. This one is answered by, not by us, but by our spokespersons or individual people within our companies. So they've started adapting and going there. But publishing is a whole other story. Publishing is about proactively creating conversation that you want people to follow, that then create a larger story about your brand, so that you tell people what is the purpose of your organization, why are you doing what you're doing, why should they care about buying your products or supporting your company. And that requires a whole lot of skills that brands don't necessarily have. For a very long time, marketing has been about pushing a series of messages that all go towards buying a product. Storytelling is about getting people to care about one's company. Well, there'll be a lot of learnings for those brands as they do it. And in a good way, what we're seeing quite successfully happen through some of the big brands in South Africa is those brands partnering with publishers to get those learnings. So saying, hey, we don't know how to do this yet, but let's partner with people who know how to do it, and let's collaborate where we create value for each other. We're not just going to give them a message they need to push. We're going to meet with editors, meet with the publishers, the content creators, and say, hey, what can we do together so that we create value for my brand? So we get people to care and understand what my organization is about and why we do what we do. If you look at other markets, if you look at the Cannes Lions recently, a lot of the awards have gone towards brand entertainment and content marketing. And sometimes the brands are actually are in the background. It's not about pushing like buy more Chipotle. It's about creating relevance for the brand itself and what it stands for, and creating entertainment for its users that then make them care about the brand one way or another.